Annie Knight is a 27-year-old Australian OnlyFans model, and she slept with 583 men in one day. She had to get rushed to the hospital afterwards. Let's jump right in the story. Alright y'all, so this happened back in May, and I'm on the New York Post right now. The article starts off by saying the 27-year-old, dubbed Australia's most sexually active woman, ended up in the hospital after sleeping with 583 men in a single day. She did that in 6 hours. Now, I know some of y'all might think that's crazy. I think she's a great trooper, because if this was the other way around, if it was a man that did that with 583 women, I can guarantee you we'd be giving him as much praise as possible. So Annie suffers from endometriosis, a disease in which tissue similar to the lining of the uterus grows outside of it, causing severe pelvic pain and fertility issues. So just the fact that she has that, and she's an OnlyFans creator, shows that she's a soldier, all right, deep inside. I know many of you guys might think that is insane, but to me, that shows she has really good perseverance, all right? And if I had the option to do that as a woman for money, I don't know if I'd say no. And this is Annie right here, pictured before. I'm sure she's about to do one of her performances. And I mean, man, some women are just born to do OnlyFans, you know? Some others are born to be CEOs, some others are born to be doctors, but you know what? She's a great, beautiful woman, isn't she? And here we can see a picture of her posted in the hospital where she says, being hospitalized after taking 583 men in a day was not on my 2025 bingo card. Well, Annie, I have never been with 583 men, but just the fact that you could do this in 6 hours shows that you should never stop doing OnlyFans. Because, I mean, your imagination is wild, and I really like this. I really do. The former marketing executive has been forced to take as many as 6 days a month off work due to the horrific symptoms she suffers, including cramping, heavy bleeding, bloating, and even an inability to go to the bathroom. Oh, man. Annie says that she got her period the day before the big challenge, but I have an IUD fitted, which is a contraception, so the bleeding was very light. Now, if I was one of those men, I'd be a little bit worried if a woman is on her period and then 582 other guys are going to sleep with her. I just feel like that's a lot of intermingling, even if you're using protection, of just diseases and other stuff. Annie states that after the challenge I felt fine, but a couple days later I started getting really bad cramping and my period became very heavy. I started to become concerned that something else was going on, so I went to the hospital to be safe. And this is her picture in the hospital. Have y'all ever heard that too much of something is really bad? Like too much coffee, too much water, too much alcohol could end your life. I wonder if too much men that enter inside of you in 6 hours could also end your life. I'm no doctor, but I'm just guessing. Annie says that the medics were aware of her recent stunt and were worried about the physical toll it had taken on her body. The nurses were concerned that she had ruptured something or caused damage to her body, so they did a bunch of scans and tests, and thankfully, almost everything came back normal. The test did show that she has low iron and progesterone, and eventually concluded that it was her elevated stress levels that exacerbated her endometriosis. She was sent home and told to rest and try not to stress. So Annie was originally only supposed to sleep with 200 men within 6 hours, and then when 583 men showed up, she decided, let's go. So we see 5 men lined up here waiting for their turn with Annie, and she's in a beautiful red dress wearing the red heels, and she was like, you know what? Why stop at 200? I can add another 383 and that'll increase my viewership. Annie says that she was working herself to the bone, filming a lot and trying to organize the challenge, which was stressful as there was many moving parts. She had just bought a house 2 days before that, and she had been signing contracts, organizing documents, and she had just come back from a huge trip overseas. Okay, well, here's my theory, right? If you're an OnlyFans creator, you don't want to buy a house, all right, after you just come back from an international trip and then take 583 men in 6 hours. Why would you say that, Rod? Because that's just a lot of stress. First, you're making a huge purchase on a property, right? You just came back from vacation, and then you're trying to put your genitals through extreme stress, through extreme work. Now, Annie seems to think that the more you use your genital, the more money you get. I think that if you just do different things without as many men, you might be able to get the same outcome. Annie says it's all very fun but a lot of work, which contributed to my high stress levels. I've basically been working every day for the past 5 months, and I think my body just finally had enough. When Annie says that she's been working every day for the past 5 months, that equals that she's been hooking up with people every day for the past 5 months. That's a lot of work, and personally, as an OnlyFans creator myself, you don't need to do that much. I don't know what she's thinking. I'm sure she's making a killing, but you don't have to, like that. It's called rest, all right? Your entire body needs it, including your genitals. You need to rest your body, and then you can make more money in the future, all right? And Annie seems to think that every day she could just put it through work. That's not how genitals work, just to let you know. She goes on to say the industry is oversaturated, so even taking a week or two off can mean people look elsewhere for content. I'm working on realizing that my health is more important than anything else, which is why I'm taking a break from filming. I want to make sure my body recovers and is back to its best. Yes, Annie, there you go. Now we're starting to think, all right? After you use your genitals, you got to give it a break, and then you can make more money in the future. You don't use it for 5 months straight and then expect that you can then add 583 men within 6 hours and then be okay. That's just not how it works. So while Annie is healing, she's spending time with her fiancé, Henry Brayshaw, a FIFA worker who was away during her hospital stay. This guy looks like a great man. Now, I personally would never want to be with a woman that sleeps with 583 men in 6 hours. I feel like that's not necessary. I mean, by all means, do whatever you want in your life, but I'm not looking for that type of woman. So to reconfirm what I said earlier, Annie says here that the 583 men marathon took place over 6 hours, a feat which most doctors don't recommend. But I want to know what you guys think about this woman and her men marathon. Would you do it? Would you not do it? Would you stop at 200? Would you stop at 5? I don't know. Give me your opinions. I'm really curious. See you in the next video.